Tucker, what do you think about the clip yesterday of Elon?
Let's play it for 45 seconds and then get your response, Tucker Carlson.
Apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
But
go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel.
All right, Tucker, your response to the good for you, the old GFY.
I mean, I've interviewed people every week for over 30 years, and so I know what it is to interview. I just dropped my Perrier, excuse me. And I know I have a lot of experience interviewing people, and I've interviewed Elon, and I don't understand how the New York Times character, fussy little guy from the New York Times, how could you not laugh? Like, what? He just told Bob Iger to fuck himself.
He's a terrible moderator. Don't get me started. You and I are in sync. Andrew Sorkin is amongst the weakest of moderators and interviewers.
But he's just what a fussy little douche. Like, that's the moment when he just
huge douche.
You erupt.
Say more,
total
Tucker.
Like, are you joking? Elon Musk just told Bob Iger to fuck himself? Like,
yes.
I'd be texting my wife.
Response. He's a robot.
I know. No, of course I love it. I am in the Iger thing. I don't hate Bob Iger or anything, but like I keep hearing from people, mutual people I know who know Bob Iger very well, that he's like very serious about running for president. And it's like, if you really think if you're Bob Iger, you can run for president, that you have anything to offer people or they want you to be president, like you're pretty out of touch. So I like that. But, big picture, I'm really, and I'm not just saying this because it aligns with my interests of some kind. I mean it. I'm worried about the pressure that's being brought to bear on that platform, on this platform, on X, because it's the only one, the only big one, huge one, international one, tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. Like, they have to, they meaning the people who would like to maintain the status quo, kind of have to shut it down. And I am just so hoping that, I can help in any way, and that all decent people, whatever their views, add their voice to a chorus that says, no, you can't shut down the one big free speech platform in the world. You can't do that, because then it's just dictatorship. You're not free if you don't have free information, and you can't say what you really think.
You were subject to a lot of these advertising attacks. They went after Fox and your show specifically, and it worked. They got people to not advertise on your show.
Yeah.
So these advertising boycotts do work. Media Matters, whatever, whoever's doing them. So I'm curious what you see the business model being for your show, and then how you hope to be resistant to it. Are you going to just go straight up subscription and hope that half your audience or 10% of your audience pays, and you put half out for free, half out for sub? What are you thinking?
You got to have a subscription component to it. And of course, we're selling ads against our content, and we'll be doing that on X and on tuckercarlson.com, where we'll be hosting the subscription part of it. Of course, we're selling ads. We'll have network ads too. I mean, there are lots of different things you can do. But in the end, you have to have some subscription component if you're going to do it at scale. I mean, we brought our whole staff, almost our whole staff from Fox with us. So we got a bunch of people. We've got, bigger ambitions than have been on display so far. And we, you got to have more information. And I would just say this about just having been in this one business my whole life, the range of stories is the problem. It's not that the stories are all totally dishonest. Some are dishonest, but some are not. They're technically true, but they're taken from such a small pot of stories that it's like, it's crazy. There's all this stuff going on, and it's just not, I was completely obsessed and remain obsessed with the industrial sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline. It's like that's a major historical event. Like you just ended the EU. You just hobbled the economic engine of Europe, which is Germany. And like, who did that? And there were like very few stories on that. That's like a very big deal. And again, back to the curiosity thing, but it's more than that. It's like people sort of know where not to go. And I just feel like that's, first of all, that's soul death. you're not a free man if you're that constrained in your thinking, if you're letting somebody else tell you what you're allowed to think. How can your wife even sleep with you at that point? No one can respect you if you live like that, A. B, you can't have a democracy. You can't have a free country under those circumstances. So, and I don't think I'm overstating it. And so we're going to try to, I hope, be one of many different similar efforts to just add to the sum total of information and analysis of that information.
Well, the end of democracy and sex would be kind of rough, I think. Yeah, go ahead, Jamal.
Yeah.
I have a final question, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. But if one of the presidential candidates called you and said, Tucker, be my VP.
And replace Kamala Harris? I mean, I don't think I could do that. She's a historic first.
Biden, Tucker.
Would you consider it if Donald Trump gave you that call?
Well, of course I would consider it. I mean, you have no idea how open-minded I am. I would consider anything, actually. But, I mean, the truth is, I kind of don't respect people who do stuff like that. I really believe I've got a lot of theories which I will not inflict on you, but which I do inflict on my own 4 children. And my main theory of life is that you should do what you were designed to do. I don't believe this whole you can be whatever you want to be thing. I think it's an absurd lie. I think we're made for certain things. We have certain aptitudes. They're inborn. We can hone them, and we need to through practice, repetition. But it's very. I think it's a sign of hubris, which is always the death of, particularly of men. Hubris, thinking you have more power than you do. When midlife, you're like, well, actually, what I really want to do is direct. It's like, you just won Best Actress, honey. Go back to acting. And I've never been involved in politics. I haven't even voted in all elections. I'm serious. So like the idea that I'm going to, at 54, like run for national office, it's a little, you know what I mean? Like, I don't take myself quite that seriously. I mean, I can't imagine doing something like that.
I'd like to get your reaction to this, Tucker.
Tesla has done more to help the environment than all other companies combined. It would be fair to say that, therefore, as a leader of the company, I've done more for the environment than everyone else, any single human on Earth.
How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about that?
Yeah, no, I'm asking you personally how you feel about that, because we're talking about power and influence and...
I'm saying what I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them.
Your thoughts on virtue signaling versus reality?
It was like the hand of God massaging my central nervous system. Like every erogenous zone was just in heightened awareness. Like that, I couldn't.
It's a full release, full chiropractic release.
Wow, it's so dirty. I'm sorry. No, but I so vehemently agree. And I don't even like electric cars. I don't think they help the environment. I didn't even agree with that part. I just love his point, which is the point. Which is what actually matters is what you do. It's not what you think. What matters is helping other people. And I also think that the fact that Andrew Ross Sorkin has a television job shows this is not a meritocracy. Like, I don't know how he got that. But his response to that was like, he can't even, like, I'll just kind of say, this is like so inside baseball, but it's literally what I do for a living, have done all my life.
Yes, that's what we do, Tucker.
The key to interviewing people, yes, is to listen to them. Larry King, I used to fill in for Larry King at CNN. He was #1, 9 p.m., all this stuff. The first time I filled in for Larry King, there was no research on the guests. I had 2 guests, no research. And I said to the producer, and Larry was like in Cabo with wife number 7. And I said, where's the research? Oh, Larry doesn't do research. So I do the show, went fine. And I called him after. I was like, dude, you do no research? He goes, and he was #1, most dominant figure in cable news by far. And he goes, no, I just listen. And when someone says something weird, I pause, and I say, wait a second. You killed someone in 1962? Why'd you kill him?
You follow up. You're present in the interview.
Yes!
And then you follow up based on what this guest said.
Notice how Jason's interrupting you right now. Sorry, go ahead, Tucker.
No, I'm listening to what Tucker said and reflecting back to him what he said, which is what game realizes
that's
game.
That's right. It's a colloquy.
Jake House treating this as validation.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
There's a whole backstory to this, Tucker, that you don't need to know about. But
I can tell it's tantalizing.
It is.
Oh, it is. Trust me.